You haven't signed anything and he hasn't signed anything yet.
No.
Is that because are you guys still trying to work it out, or does it just make more sense for you guys to just be separated right now?
Well, the thing is, we've sat and had a conversation about trying to maybe not do it through attorneys and see if we can come to some type of agreement, that way. And at the same time, I also feel like, and it's not even the point of just trying to work it out, but I'm also like, I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I pretty much kind of got the information, and am I ready to serve him with these papers? This is the first time something like this has happened in our marriage, and I'm feeling like, okay, is the answer immediately, although it's all this crazy stuff that's happened, is the answer immediately divorce, step into this place, or is it, let's try to figure out if we're gonna just separate and try to work out percentages, things like to that nature. So that's kind of where it is right now. Just maybe considering not having to do an actual divorce, but just at this moment, but just figuring out what we want to do and see if we want to go ahead and take it to the divorce line later, or that may not be the case. As of right now, who's to say? My main concern ain't even just the fact of filing the divorce. It's just about trying to, stay focused, not overstress myself, and get ready for this baby, whether he's a part of the situation or not.
Good.
The moment Rasheeda Frost entered the spotlight, gently placing her hand on her growing belly, the room seemed to freeze. The sparkle in her eyes told a story full of joy, hope, and renewal. It wasn't an easy story, but it was one she had fought for. As she confirmed her pregnancy to the world, there was no mistaking the excitement in her voice. She was expecting another child, this time with her husband, Kirk Frost. This wasn't just a casual announcement for Rasheeda. It was a triumph. It was proof of her strength, her belief in love, and the bond she shared with Kirk, even after all the difficult moments in their past. They had been through a lot together, facing betrayals, misunderstandings, and a complicated history. But after all the hurdles they had overcome, it seemed they were ready to start building something beautiful again. I'm happy to say that Kirk and I are expecting again. Rasheeda smiled, her eyes filled with emotion as she spoke to the media, surrounded by flashing cameras. It's been a tough journey, but we're moving forward. Our love is stronger than ever, and this baby is a blessing. Kirk stood beside her, pride written all over his face. For all the mistakes he had made, mistakes that once pushed Rasheeda to her breaking point, this moment made it all feel worthwhile. It was redemption. This child symbolized hope for their future, a new beginning in their complicated relationship. It showed that they were healing, committed to rebuilding their family. As the news spread, social media exploded with reactions. Fans, friends, and critics alike shared their thoughts. Some congratulated the couple, applauding them for overcoming their struggles. Others questioned the timing and the nature of their relationship. But for Rasheeda and Kirk, none of that mattered. They had weathered storms together, and now they were focused on what was to come. While Rasheeda and Kirk celebrated their news, not everyone was happy. Far from it. Jasmine, the woman who had been at the center of much of the drama in Kirk and Rasheeda's marriage, was devastated. Jasmine had always been a complicated presence in their world. She had entered the picture years ago, bringing with her a whirlwind of emotions and conflict. The paternity of her child had caused tension between Kirk and Rasheeda, and even though they had eventually worked through their issues, the scars of the past lingered. Jasmine had once believed that Kirk would choose her. She convinced herself that their connection was deeper than just a brief affair. But over time, that dream faded. Her relationship with Kirk had never been the fairy tale she hoped for, and in the end, it turned out to be far more painful than she ever expected. Now, seeing Rasheeda's announcement, Jasmine felt all the emotions she had buried come rushing back. The past, the betrayal, and the lost hope all hit her at once, crashing down in a wave of intense pain. As the reality of the situation set in, Jasmine found herself spiraling. For years, she had hoped for more with Kirk. But now, here they were, Rasheeda and Kirk, stronger than ever, celebrating the arrival of a new baby. Meanwhile, Jasmine was left alone, dealing with the aftermath of her shattered dreams. In private, away from the cameras and the public eye, Jasmine broke down. How could she not? She had given so much of herself to Kirk, and in the end, it wasn't enough. The family she had once hoped to build with him was now being created elsewhere, and the pain was unbearable. Sitting alone in her apartment, Jasmine's hands shook as she scrolled through countless messages on her phone. There were texts from friends offering sympathy, others from people who didn't know the full story but wanted to take sides. None of it mattered. None of it changed the fact that Kirk had moved on, and most painfully, Rasheeda had won. Jasmine's mind replayed all the moments when Kirk had promised her he would always be there. The moments when she truly believed he cared. But now, those moments felt like a distant dream, a chapter long since closed. Rasheeda had fought for Kirk's love, and had succeeded in ways Jasmine never could. Tears flowed freely as Jasmine sat in her sadness. She had tried to be strong, tried to move on, but the pain was too much to bear. It felt like every step forward she had made over the years was undone by the announcement that had just been made. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she whispered between sobs. "I was supposed to have a family. I was supposed to have everything I dreamed of, and now I have nothing but a broken heart." Kirk's attention had always been divided, swinging between women, and Jasmine found herself caught in the middle. Now she realized the truth. She was the afterthought, the mistake, the one who never got the happy ending. Even though she cried, Jasmine knew deep down that this wasn't the end of her story. It was just another painful chapter. Like all chapters, it would eventually close. She didn't know how long it would take to heal, but she understood one thing for sure: the love she had for Kirk would never be enough to make him choose her. Meanwhile, Rasheeda and Kirk were moving forward, their hearts filled with a renewed sense of hope. They had gone through so much, but they were doing what they always knew was possible: building a family, repairing the cracks in their relationship, and embracing their future together. They had each other, and with the news of their baby on the way, they felt they had everything needed to make their family whole again. The contrast between Rasheeda and Jasmine was stark. For Rasheeda, this was a time of joy and celebration. A moment when everything she had fought for was finally coming to fruition. For Jasmine, however, it was a reminder of all that she had lost. Yet time has a way of healing even the most painful wounds. Rasheeda and Kirk's journey was just beginning, while Jasmine would have to find her own path forward, learning to live with the lessons of the past, and eventually letting go of the hurt that had defined so much of her life. For now, the world watched as Rasheeda and Kirk embraced their happiness. They were looking forward to the future, confident in the love they had for each other. As for Jasmine, the road ahead was one of quiet reflection, as she tried to piece together a life that had once been full of hope, and now seemed full of heartbreak. She didn't know what the future would hold, but she understood that it was time to move on and heal no matter how long it took. Ultimately, the story of Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine was one of resilience, growth, and change. Life had thrown many challenges their way, but they each had to find their own path. For Rasheeda and Kirk, their journey was about rebuilding their family, while for Jasmine, it was about finding strength within herself. The story was far from over, but one thing was certain: no matter how it unfolded, the future held the potential for growth and healing.